Some retirees have less money on paper and yet seem to live with more ease, more freedom, and sometimes even more confidence than people with much larger portfolios. That does not mean money is unimportant. It means something more interesting is happening. Once a reasonable level of security exists, the experience of being rich depends on more than how much you have. It depends on how much of that security actually reaches your daily life. Can you make choices without fear? Can you enjoy your time without constantly calculating what it costs? Can you spend on something meaningful without feeling that you are damaging your future? Two people can retire with very different amounts of money and still have completely different experiences of wealth. One may have more assets, a larger home, and a stronger financial cushion, but still feel tense every time money leaves the account. Every trip feels like a threat. Every repair feels excessive. Every generous gesture has to be justified. The numbers may say secure, but the nervous system keeps hearing, be careful. Another retiree may have less, but their expenses are manageable. Their life is simpler to maintain. They know what matters to them. They have room in the budget, room in the calendar, and room in their decisions. The second person is not necessarily safer in every financial sense, but they may feel much richer because their money is doing something the first person's money is not. It is creating usable freedom. That distinction matters. Wealth on paper tells you what you own. Lived wealth tells you what those resources allow you to do, refuse, change, enjoy, and stop worrying about. A retirement account can be large and still feel strangely distant from everyday life if the person who built it never learned how to experience it as permission. And that is one of the quiet transitions retirement can expose. For decades, saving is often the responsible thing to do. You delay spending. You prepare for emergencies. You protect your future. You tell yourself not to get too comfortable. Those habits can build real financial strength. But a habit can remain useful long after the situation that created it has changed. Some people reach retirement with enough resources to live reasonably well, yet continue to behave as if every dollar spent is a dollar that should have remained untouched. If you value calm, practical conversations about retirement, money, and the psychology behind both, consider subscribing. The challenge is that accumulation has a clear score. More is easy to measure. Using money well is much harder. There is no single number that tells you whether you are enjoying your time, whether your routine fits your values, or whether your money is giving you the courage to make a change. So, some retirees keep playing the game they already know how to play. Protect the balance. Avoid the withdrawal. Delay the purchase. Preserve the principle. Sometimes that caution is wise. Sometimes it is necessary. But sometimes the behavior is no longer protecting security. It is protecting the feeling of control. And those are not always the same thing. Real autonomy in retirement often appears in ordinary moments. It can mean being able to say no to an obligation you no longer want. It can mean moving closer to family, choosing a quieter neighborhood, taking a trip in the off-season, paying for help when a task has become exhausting, or simply spending a Tuesday morning exactly as you want. Those choices may not look impressive from the outside, but they are the kinds of choices people often worked for in the first place. This is where some retirees with less money gain an advantage that has little to do with maximizing wealth. Their life may simply require less money to feel spacious. They may have fewer fixed commitments, less pressure to maintain an image, fewer expensive habits that became permanent, a home that fits instead of one that proves something, friends whose company does not require spending, interests that bring satisfaction without creating another monthly obligation. That does not make a smaller portfolio better. It means the distance between their financial resources and the life they want is shorter. And in retirement, time changes the equation. During working years, it is easy to justify trading time for more money because the future feels expandable. There will be another year to travel, another season to rest, another opportunity to reconnect. Retirement can make that trade feel different. Money can often be preserved, replaced, inherited, invested, or reorganized. Time cannot. That does not mean spending recklessly because life is short. It means recognizing that preserving every dollar can also carry a cost if the result is permanently postponing the life that money was meant to support. You'll find a few additional resources below if you'd like to explore the financial and behavioral side of retirement more deeply. The same principle applies to relationships and routine. A financially rich retirement can still feel emotionally poor if every day is structured around protecting assets, maintaining possessions, or avoiding spending. Meanwhile, a more modest retirement can feel abundant when there is enough time to see people you care about, enough flexibility to help someone without destabilizing yourself, and enough calm to enjoy ordinary life without turning every decision into a financial test. There is a reason this can be hard to see. Comparison changes the definition of enough. A person can be secure until they look at a friend's home, another couple's travel schedule, a sibling's portfolio, or a neighbor's lifestyle. Then the question shifts. Instead of asking, "Do I have enough for the life I actually want?" they begin asking, "Do I have as much as they do?" Those are completely different questions. The first can lead to clarity. The second has no natural stopping point. There will almost always be someone with more assets, more property, more visible consumption, or a more impressive version of retirement. And if wealth is measured only by comparison, even a strong financial position can feel insufficient. This is where the deeper idea behind the title becomes clear. Some retirees with less money feel much richer because they need less money to access what matters most to them. Their peace does not require constant upgrades. Their identity does not depend on keeping up. Their closest relationships are not expensive to maintain. Their routine is not overloaded with obligations. Their idea of a good day is financially sustainable. That combination creates something powerful, a life in which money supports freedom instead of constantly defining the limits of it. The practical question, then, is not simply, "How much do I have?" A better question may be, "What does my money already make possible that I am still treating as unavailable?" Maybe it is more time with family. Maybe it is replacing something that causes daily frustration. Maybe it is taking a trip you can reasonably afford. Maybe it is paying for convenience that protects your energy. Maybe it is simply allowing yourself to stop optimizing every decision. And another useful question is this: what would feeling financially rich look like on an ordinary Tuesday? Not on a luxury vacation. Not in a fantasy version of retirement. On a normal day, would it mean a slower morning? Less clutter? Fewer obligations? A walk with someone you care about? The freedom to change your plans? The ability to spend a little without guilt? Those answers reveal something a net worth statement cannot. The goal is not to spend more for the sake of spending. It is to create a better translation between resources and life. That usually starts with protecting real security first, then noticing which commitments consume flexibility without adding much value, and finally, allowing some part of your financial margin to become time, comfort, connection, and choice. Because retirement was never supposed to be a competition to see who could preserve the largest number while feeling the least permission to live. Some retirees with less money are not secretly wealthier. They simply experience more of the wealth they already have. And that may be the most useful definition of richness after work. Not how much you manage to accumulate, but how much freedom your security allows you to feel. If this changed the way you think about financial security, the next video explores why some financially secure retirees still feel afraid to spend. That is the next part of this story.